Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Gebo the Shaman, and today we are talking about, well, young men are cooked, as the kids say. Um, so, uh, so I wanted to preface this video by saying, I've been watching some, videos by, Asmongold and Shoe on Head and these different YouTube content creators, and it's really highlighted a major problem in society that I've kind of experienced this bit myself, although um, overcome ways to I found ways to overcome these challenges and things. So there's something called on internet culture called incels, right? Involuntarily celibate, meaning these are typically young men, sometimes older. It can range in age, and I know that especially for the older men who are experiencing this, um, it can be very challenging, and it can often send men into a very dark place, and almost feel like they're unwanted in society. Maybe they are uh, not, typically socially programmed to like programmed to be, or I guess they, and I don't want to say programmed, but they are not socially acceptable in one way or another. So maybe they're a little bit socially awkward, maybe they have a little bit of social anxiety. Um and so for one reason or the other they experience a very large amount of isolation in their lives. Social isolation. This is where we get, you know, groups of friends playing, World of Warcraft or or different games, right? And so I want to talk about this because I know that I can help them. So, I'll just, I think it's important that we look at the information that's available. I just Googled, I just asked Grok to give me a list of characteristics of these involuntarily celibate men. Okay. So, and, as I've said, I've had to deal with this myself. Not that, um, and I've gone on dates and I've had relationships and things like that. And so I know that there can be hope if you put in the work and try and make some changes in your life. So, and I'm not just here to crap on men and say you should do better and this and that. I've been there, man. I know where this comes from. I know how you're feeling. I know, more than you know. Basically, I've experienced it myself. So, you know, um, so this is for the men out there who are experiencing these struggles. And maybe you've had relationships in the past, or you're struggling with relationships and things like that, or trying to find women that are uh, likable to you, that fit your standards and stuff. So here I'm just gonna read from Grok before I get into my solutions and things. Okay, so obviously definition of incels, involuntarily celibate. Um, so I'm not going to get into that too much. If you're here watching this channel, you know what a incel is. Okay. Demographics and personal characteristics. Okay, this is important. So, age and gender typically in their mid 20s, average 26 years old. Um, nearly all are male. Let's see here. 93 to 99% are heterosexual. Okay, so we're dealing with young men who are male and heterosexual, young straight men. And also, guys, there's a thing that you should know about. This is the with this it's you know, how can I explain this? It's oftentimes women are just more attracted to someone who is, who is financially stable, or has their stuff together, has a career, has a house, it can provide for them in that sense. And oftentimes, I mean, I just read the other day that um the average home buyer age for their first home is now 40, which tells you a lot about the economy. It tells you a lot about a lot of things. Okay. So I can understand that. It's frustrating in that regard too. We're experiencing economic frustrations, social frustrations, um, you know, just I think frustrations in all kinds of areas. So I can certainly understand that. Okay, so let's go on. So we know that age and gender, young men who are straight, um, ethnicity and socioeconomics. Okay, so about 58% white, 42% of people are people of color. So this is not just a white thing. It's um for every every man. Like, it's not a racial thing at all. Okay. So let's see here. So majority are white though. 42% people of color. Um, 16% black, 7% South Asian, mostly middle and lower middle class, with around 68% having some post-secondary education, and that's huge. More than 68% having college education. That's well, I'm actually impressed by that. It's a bit shocking to me. But okay, and that fits in with my demographics as well. I have college education and stuff, degrees. Um, Many live with parents or rent cheaply, and 18% are not in employment, education, or training. So that's a big thing right there. So you're living in your mom's basement, right? And of course, it's like, if you can't even afford an apartment, I mean, you're not gonna get a girlfriend, right? So, and I find that to be typically the case, is like, women typically don't want you living with your mom, right? You know, uh, so that's a big factor, obviously. So, women typically look for independence, financial security, having your own place. Uh, a big thing that I heard from a lot of high school girls was, having uh, your own car, having your own apartment, things like that, was things that they wanted. Um, so yeah. Um, and then let's see here. So we have the socioeconomics. We have relationship status, of course. I mean, this plays into it. This is the biggest part of it. 99% are, sorry, 86% are involuntarily celibate, 98% childless, with profound social isolation. So this is another key component to this. Profound social isolation. Only around 33% report having at least one friend. Okay, so yeah. So these are friendless, socially isolated young men, and that's sad, man. That is really sad. Which is why I'm making this video, and I feel for you, because damn it, man, I've been there. I am there, you know. Um, so yeah. Anyway, so the like 1/3 reporting having just one friend. They often face high rejection rates on dating apps, matching with just 4.5% of profiles versus 33% for non-incels. Yeah, so this is another thing that we'll talk about. This is another thing that um, is important because, I mean, why, would, I mean, so statistically, women are very picky and choosy, and that goes back to biological and social factors, mainly survival, needing to put food on the table for children and herself, and being able to actually live as a biological runner, as a biological instinct. Um, so that's why they are, very picky, choosy. Um, and so, yeah, so let me see. So I can understand that. 18% are not in employment. Okay, so that's good. So that means that 81% are are in employment, which is a good factor. And I know that employment rates are kind of high right now. Our unemployment rates are high. Um, this is all to be expected. I mean, these are young men trying to figure out their lives and themselves, and yeah, it's totally average norm. Although I'd say, I would encourage you to actually get a job and go out and into the world and do something. It's very important to take action. That's what I found. Okay, so let's see here. So relationship status, 86% involuntary celibate, 98% childless. Okay, I think we went through this, or I don't know. Oh no. Alright, so 98% childless with profound social isolation, 33% reporting having one friend. Yeah, we did this. Okay, so physical and lifestyle factors, self-reported height averages, near national norms. Okay, so these are not like typically like short kings like myself. um, but many perceive themselves as unattractive. Okay, that's yeah. Common issues include poor hygiene, unhealthy habits, excessive fast food, leading to obesity and health problems. Um, though these are debated in causes versus symptoms of deeper issues. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, if you are, there's things that we can do about this. Okay, so this is not like, oh God, I'm stuck with this. This is things that we can work on. Okay, so poor hygiene. Okay, so brushing your teeth regularly, going to see a dentist regularly, um, you know, showering every day. One thing that I had to do because I am disabled. I don't have a job other than this, other than YouTube and being a spiritual counselor and a um, life coach and all these things, um, and qigong teacher and all this stuff. Is so I didn't have like a regular normal daily routine. So in other words, I would have to actually create one for myself. And so that includes, I think the biggest thing is having a set bedtime. So, going to bed 10, 12 or 2. Like obviously I know a lot of these guys in this age range probably I would bet stay up until like 5 a.m. and then crash and then sleep until like 3 p.m. That's what I used to do. Right? So, and this is not healthy or normal. It's quite destructive to your mental health, to your, physical health, things like this. Okay, so getting a good bedtime, you know. What I had to do was basically step myself down. So, instead of going to bed at, 5 a.m. or whatever it is, for you, go to bed at 4 a.m. And then the next day or next couple days try 4 a.m. Or you might even have to extend that out for a week, and then go to 3 a.m. and then 2 a.m. and then 1 a.m. and then 12 midnight. I think for most people 12 midnight is a fair bedtime. So just, and I'm not at all telling you what to do. I'm just giving you suggestions like this. Um, so yeah, and then again, hygiene habits. So another thing that I did is I wrote out a list of what I needed to do for the day. Oh God, I have to brush my teeth. I gotta take a shower. I gotta, I have to comb my hair. Or when I started to shave it a little bit, I didn't need to comb my hair, right? So all these things, it's very important. Especially, I mean, nobody wants to sleep with someone who has BO, right? So, putting on deodorant, washing under heads, all, the basic stuff. The basic stuff that men I know can get lazy with and all this. Ask me how I know. Right? So, very important to set up a routine for yourself. That's, so then, all right, so let's see. So we have, let's see here. So we have poor hygiene, unhealthy habits. Another thing that I did was just get rid of all of the junk, junk food, processed food. I know this is hard to do because you know, it's um, it's just so convenient to run to McDonald's and whatever and get something to eat. One thing that I've found helpful because I do not enjoy cooking is is actually like having this like it's like basically chicken and vegetables and rice in a bowl, in a freezer bowl, and I just pop it into the microwave. I throw some hot sauce on it and I throw some avocado on it, and that's what I've been eating for actually many years. So that's the main meal, and then I'll have different like side meals and stuff. Just whatever. Sometimes I'll treat myself to a pizza or um whatever. I know a lot of guys I don't know, it's interesting. Some guys like different meals, some guys will prioritize just hey, if I can just pop this thing in the fridge and or in the microwave and that's it, then great. No, that's what I do, and I know that some people might say, well, that's unhealthy in its own right. You know, you don't want to be microwaving every single meal, but hey, that's how I get by. That's how I get by. And yeah, I generally try to pick like health conscious meals. Um, Having a bit of protein in there, or a major protein in there is good. That's why I add the extra avocado because I'm trying to add protein in there. Um, Vegetables are always good. Chicken and rice. So and that's the meal that I find the majority of the world eats is just chicken and rice and vegetables. That's their subsistence meal. Um, all right, so let's see here. Um, and yeah, you might be prone to eating the Doritos, the Cheetos, junk food, because there is a element of being depressed and all this stuff, eating your emotions and things. These are all things that we can talk about in a counseling session. So if you'd like to get a counseling session with me, you can go to patreon.com/Gebo the Shaman, or you can go to GeboTheShaman.com. Um, and if you're thinking about getting a session with me, I'm here to support you, and help make your life better. And I've done it for myself. I've done this for myself, so I know that I can help you as well. So here we go. So yeah, so we'll run into the psychological factors. Um, Here and this is what I'm mainly here to talk about, guys. So we have prevalent conditions. 39% met criteria for moderate to severe depression versus 28% in the national average. Um, so that's nearly a 10-point jump. And then 43% for anxiety versus 36, so that's like a 9-point jump. Um, or, well, something like that, 6%. And then, so that's, yeah. So depression is up, anxiety is up, and then 22% experience daily suicidal ideation. Okay, so um, yeah, very common. Um, Ask me how I know. This is all very common stuff with these problems. Okay, guys. So um, and yeah, so high rates of autism spectrum traits, 31% above referral thresholds. So yeah, this brings up another problem, which is we might have some uh, what do you call it? So I I hesitate on this one because my experience, I do not possess this trait. I do not have autism. You know, and it says traits. So I wonder if that's just antisocial behavior or whatnot. But Yeah, so anyway, we'll talk about that. 31% above national thresholds. And by the way, guys, boys do have a thinner blood-brain barrier. Girls typically do have a thicker blood-brain barrier. So what that means is when you have the stuff that they shove in your arm in 2020, um, those types of things tend to have a association with that. So, let's see here. So, one of the things that's kind of worrying me about this is this self-diagnosed, or did people actually see the doctor and be told, "Oh yeah, you have these traits"? There's the difference with that. Emotional patterns: extreme rejection sensitivity, fear of singlehood, low self-esteem, often contingent on relationships, loneliness, rated uh, around 2.5 to 3. What? Okay. Um, it doesn't give me like the national average or anything, but okay. Angry rumination and self-blame mixed with externalization, blaming women or society. Coping often involves avoidance, excessive porn use, or drugs, rather than positive reframing or social support. Okay, so yeah, this is a huge thing, and yeah, a lot of things resonated with me. Um, yeah, I know what this is like. Um, so for those people out there who are experiencing this major, um, you know, sadness in their lives, major, um, a lot of times it's inability to even like go on with life. It's like men were meant to be the breadwinners. Men were meant to be, you know, have healthy relationships and to, um, have wives and children and all of these things. And that's, if you'd ask the majority of men, that is their single most purpose. That is what they love to do, to provide and support all those things and be rewarded with the love and affection of their wife, when doing so. So, uh, I get it, guys. It's a tough thing to swallow, really. Um, but also, hey, if you're an incel, typically you are young, and typically you have typically you're very young. You're in your 20s too, still. So you have a lot of life ahead of you. And I would encourage you, anyone who's going through this, like, don't let go. Don't give up. Don't, give in to um your the negativity that tells you that, you should just blank yourself. Um, you know, I've been there, and I can tell you that it gets better. Um, yeah, it really does, guys. It gets better. And hey, this is why I'm here to work with you guys. So, I don't want to see anybody you know, um, lose their life just because of, hardships. And I know this is when you're a young guy, these things become amplified. It like becomes your whole world. Like, oh, I can't get a girlfriend. Oh, um, you know, means that I'm completely unlovable, right? Means that, well, society won't accept me. So then, this is the this turns someone into a very angry person. And I understand why. I get it. I've been there. In my 20s, I was a very, very angry person. Very upset about a lot of things, about how my mother treated me. Believe me, I was raised by a single mother. Um, a lot of things. So I get it, and I'm here to help you guys. Okay, so let's continue. So so we talked about anxiety and depression, daily suicidal ideation, high rates of autism spectrum traits, and insecure attachment style. Anxious, avoidant. Yep. Yeah, this is describing me to a T. Yeah, this is exactly what I went through. Okay, so then we have emotional patterns. So we have extreme rejection, sensitivity, fear of singlehood, low self-esteem. Yeah, we went through this already. Okay, so there's an anger, rumination, self-blame mixed with externalization, blaming women and society. Coping often involves avoidance, excessive use of things, um, rather than positive reframing or social support. Trauma, neurodiversity. Many report many report histories of bullying, abuse, sexual or parental abuse, ostracism, or disorders like schizoid personality, narcissism, or anger issues. Potentially exacerbating social withdrawal. Studies liken their profiles to those of adult virgin. Studies liken their profiles to those of adult virgins or late bloomers feeling off time sexually. Yeah. So, let's see. Let's get into. So, obviously, like I totally empathize. I've been there myself. Um. So ideological beliefs. So one thing that I'll touch on before we go into that is you know, so we have the best advice that I could give a young man who's going through this stuff is I want you to make a list. So get a piece of paper out, draw a line in the middle, like, so you'll have two columns, one on the left, one on the right. And on the right, we're going to put things that you cannot control. So you could write out of control. So this could be society, this could be women, this could be relationships, this could be financial, uh, whatever, just different things. Like, you can't control somebody's behavior. You can't make women have sex with you. You can't, etc. Like, whatever it is for you. All the things that you're angry about but are not in your control. You have zero control over. Now, on the other side of the paper, I want you to think about what you can control. I can control what I think about. I can control what I do on a daily basis. I can control my my daily habits, going out for a walk every day. I can control my hygiene. I can control the type of content that I watch, whether it's uplifting or degrading. Um, I can choose whether to ruminate on anger against women. I can choose whether or not to, um, to socially isolate myself. I can choose whether to get out of the house or not, kind of things. So, and this has become an epidemic, guys, with male loneliness, and so yeah, that's my suggestion for you. Start with that. And the more that you just relieve yourself of anything that is out of your control, and the more that you start focusing on the things that are in your control, go to the gym, go exercise, go, take a shower, you know, all these things, and the life will seem to get better. Life will get better when you take things into your own hands, when you take your life into your own hands and you start improving your life, not for anybody else, but just for you. Not you don't exercise to get a girlfriend. You exercise to make yourself feel better, to feel better, more comfortable within your body, to lose those pounds of weight that were weighing you down. And when you do that, all of a sudden, you begin to feel better, like, oh, the weight is lifted off your shoulders, right? So it's more than, oh god, I gotta exercise to be aesthetically pleasing to women. I would get that completely out of your brain, right? Okay? So, alright, so I could expound on that for days, okay? So, now let's go on to, let's see here. So, ideological beliefs, um, men's victimhood and oppression, okay? So, let's see here, what is that? Men, especially incels, are the true victims of society. This is the belief, not the truth. This is just the core element, okay, in this description. So, men, especially incels, are the true victims of society. Women control sex and lie. They, women do control sex. They are the gatekeepers of sex and relationships. That is a fact. And lie about inequality, e.g., biased courts, false accusations, blame falls on feminism, and hypergamy. And hypergamy are women seeking superior partners, not patriarchy. Okay, so first I gotta ask you guys who believe this stuff. And that's no shame on you if you do. I completely accept you where you are. Uh, so think about this. You don't have a girlfriend, you don't have children, um, yet you're angry about something that doesn't really affect you? What's up with that? No, I could totally get this if you're, a single dad and you're raising your kids and you're, trying to navigate a divorce. I get it. I get it. Yeah, I can totally see that. How the courts are biased and this and that. Yeah. Okay, so sexual marketplace theory. Relationships follow a value based market, SMV, sexual market value, dominated by looks and wealth. Yeah. Um, incels are low SMV, subhumans. Now, now, to call someone subhuman, to even think of yourself as subhuman on any scale, I think that's a major disservice to you. A major, like, yeah, it's like if you're thinking about yourself as subhuman, I mean, no wonder you're depressed and suicidal and all these things. Of course, like nobody wants to be called that. Okay, rejected for chads, which are top tier men. Women artificially boost SMV via makeup, body positivity, entitling themselves to access. Okay, so that's, yeah. I don't know if I want to read all these, but okay. So there's the red pill, the manosphere, the all this stuff. The women are naturally evil. Again, generalizing here. So are there women who are evil? Yeah, I would say so. Are all women evil? No, that is not the case. Are there some men who are evil? Yes, definitely. Are all men evil? No. So this, stereotyping of all women are this, all women are that. Come on, guys. I mean, um, women are different. They they fight with each other about different things all the time. They're not all on the same page. They're not all like, you know. So just want to get rid of that idea from me. Okay, so legitimizing regressive masculinity. Okay. Um, Men are wired for dominance, feminism, pathologies, natural, male sexuality. Okay, okay. So, yeah, this is very. I I can see why men get into this stuff, but man, it's okay. So let's take a look at all of this stuff. So what I want to say is, okay, man, I, I I totally understand and I empathize with your position of you're not getting any sex or relationships with women. Um, Therefore you're very angry at them. You're very angry at society, the world, and all that. And um, I can empathize with that. I can empathize with the feelings, but also, um, man, it just becomes a very destructive thing when your heart fills with such anger and hate. Okay, it's a very destructive thing, and what that does is it boils you up inside. So the on the inside you are just steaming with anger, and the thing about that is you're not letting it go. You're not venting. You're not like. Ah. So there's something very important about this. So where I'm coming from, I want to help you become the man that you want to be. That is my mission. Okay, I work with men and women, in various things. I'm generally a spiritual counselor, but also since I've been there, and I know what this is. I know what it feels like. I know what young men are going through. I guarantee I can help you with this stuff. Okay, so you know, we're dating. Obviously, I'm not going to be a dating coach for you. I'm not interested in trying to get you laid. Okay, but I am interested in helping you become a more well-rounded individual, a more you know, I guess a healthier individual. And by result of that, by result of becoming a more healthy individual, women are naturally going to find you more attractive. Okay? So it's not about, getting sex out of women. It's not about becoming this ultra ripped Chad, right? I mean, guys, there's only so much you can do about your appearance. There's only so much you can do about this and that. But I think so. While you might, there are things that are in your control and out of your control. Okay, and so for me, this is what I've had to learn: is that okay, I can't become this, this 6'9" tall guy, right? This 7 foot tall guy who is, suntanned and ripped and has a 12 pack and all this stuff. Like for me, I'm 4 feet 8 inches tall, right? I'm 4 feet 8 inches tall. That that ideal image is never going to happen for me, right? And I'm okay with that. So while I can't promise you that I'll turn you into Chad, what I can promise you is I can help you to love yourself. I can help you, like, okay, let's just say if no women ever want to go out with you, no women ever want to date you or have sex with you or anything like that, there's two options that you have, really. Two options that you have. You can either stew and become angry and hateful and bitter, resentful, and full of just this inner rage, and that will destroy you. I can promise you that. That will destroy you. Ask me how I know. Um, so what the better path is, guys, is following what we call your soul desire. Okay, so you're in a stage right now, I bet, that you're waiting for things to happen in your life. You might go, go to the job and do your thing and live and subsist and, uh, you know, pay your rent and this stuff, and you're still not happy. You're still angry at that girl who rejected you. You're still very much upset about the hand of cards that you were dealt in this life. And I can empathize. But what we can't do, gentlemen, is let that ruin our entire lives. We're put here for a reason. We decided to come here for a reason. And that reason wasn't just to sit in our basement and type on online forums like Reddit or whatnot about how much we hate women and how much we want to, I've seen some stuff like people want to do violence to women sexually and all this stuff, and you feel like you have the right to take from a woman what you want, and sorry, you you absolutely do not have that right. So this goes into the freedom of choice. So, I just want to. Nobody has a right to do anything for you. So, let's just imagine for a second you spent your whole life without a woman in your life. Okay? Now I know the goal is men, especially for you men that I'm talking to, is to get that. And let's say for a second that you didn't have that. So you spend all your life miserable and angry and upset and boy do I know what that's like. It destroys a person internally. You're never going to be happy. You're never going to see the beauty in life, the positive things that are all around you. And oh man. So it really just comes down to what is in your control and what isn't. Because you can never make someone do something that they don't want to do. And that includes being in a relationship with you. That includes living with you. On the other hand, you can make yourself the best person you can. You can create such a happy and abundant life for yourself. You can live freely. You can have a life of joy, happiness, freedom. So, guys, don't let your happiness depend on women. Don't let your happiness depend on whether you get laid or not. You should make something of yourself that you can be proud of. This is the whole thing that I'm trying to emphasize here. Okay, so as the old saying goes, you can get bitter or you can get better. Okay? So, which one? Something that I realized a few months ago was that at any moment we all have this choice. Every moment, we can either choose to be happy, we can either choose to be positive about something. Although, I will say happiness doesn't come naturally. It's some people are very happy, other people are not so much, right? So you can choose at any moment what you're going to focus on. Are you going to focus on negativity? Or are you going to focus on positivity? Are you going to focus on what you don't have and, being angry over what you don't have? Or are you going to focus on how you can create a better life for yourself? Because honestly, this is a plea for men. I don't want to see men killing themselves over this stuff. I've been there, and I know that you can overcome it. Believe me, ask me. My 20s were hell. Okay? Yeah, my 20s were not a fun time for me. I was everything that is listed on this grok page. Bitter, resentful, hateful, all this stuff. And yet, I overcame. By the force of my sheer will, I decided to slay that dragon of hatred and anger and all this stuff. And I've decided to create a new life for myself. And I'm nothing special, guys. I am nothing special. I know that you can do it too. And so when I see these conversations online with Asmund Gold and Shuan Head and these different YouTube content creators, and I see their discussion about incels, about lonely young men, it makes me have a lot of empathy for them because I've been there. And in a lot of senses, I'm still there. But, it's all about what you make of it. Life is what you make of it. So instead of hyper fixating on how, how badly you've been treated by women or what's going on wrong in your life, I just want to say, man, we can do so much better. But it's all in your choice. It's all just your choice. What you want to make of this is up to you. Now, I can't force you to become the happiest version of yourself. I can't force you to want to grow, to want to become a happier, better, more fulfilled man. I'm just here to, as a friend, to inspire you, to offer my hand in help. I'm reaching out to you. Whether you want to take my hand and my help is up to you. I think I'm going to continue to make videos about this stuff because it really touches me. So let's see here. I also wanted to touch on codependence, okay? So codependence is this, maybe I'll do this in another video, but I'll just touch on it briefly. So codependence is when we take our value from another person. So men, and I totally resonate, I totally can understand this, this feeling, this, men typically get their value, their worth, their confidence, their self-esteem through women. And ladies out there, if you're watching this, you give men the power to go out there and conquer. You give men the power to get out there and be a better man, to grow, to you are the power in the relationship. So there's this thing in my spiritual practice. There's a thing in Hinduism called, well, it's even in Taoism, yin and yang. There's a yin and the yang. There is there's Shiva, and then there's Shakti. Shakti is the feminine power that surrounds the masculine. It actually, when these two are put together, the feminine and the masculine, it actually empowers the masculine, empowers the male to go out, be brave, and bring home the bacon, all that stuff. And I can empathize with men who are single. They're like, why even work? Why even do any of that? Because I'm not getting the benefits of, it's like, why should I make myself better? Because, if I'm not in a relationship, it's like men are very good at subsisting. Men are very good at subsisting, meaning that they just do the bare minimum to survive. Okay, so left to their own devices, men will. This is actually funny coming from a man, because men, when will just, just do bare minimum. Right? So, and as a man, I can tell you that, like, believe me, if I didn't live with, if I didn't live with the women in the house, like, yeah, my house would be probably a mess, right? So, this is just doing bare minimum, just like, I mean, if you look at, Asmongold's desk, he has his, computer set up, and then to the right he has all these bottles of Coke, right? Bottles of sodas, like these plastic containers or this, foam containers and whatever. And he says that he this was just in the last videos that I watched of his. He says, like, his fans ask him, don't you, like, can you tell what bottle the Coke is actually in, the soda is actually in? Because he has all these Coke bottles that look alike, and so it's like, oh yeah, I can hear it. he he's developed this perception that he can tell which can of Coke still has Coke in it because he can hear that fizzle, the carbonation in it. And instead of cleaning out the desk of all the empty Coke bottles, no, he just keeps on stacking them up. And he can tell the one that's full by the noise that it makes. It's hilarious. That is hilarious to me. um, but this is what men do. This is people, men will eat off of like Tupperware. you know, uh, Men will take Tupperware lids and just eat off of those. And this, ladies, this is why we need you, because you're the only person that we're going to listen to that says maybe that's not a good idea. Maybe you shouldn't play video games for 20 hours a day or 16 hours a day and go to sleep at 5 p.m. because you stayed up all night. Or go to sleep at what is it, 5 a.m. because you stayed up all night and whatever. So yeah, ladies, you have this incredible power to actually domesticate men. Men go feral without you. Right? So I know that I would be in a much different situation if I didn't live with a woman. So oh man. So yeah. It's funny. I can laugh at it. And yeah, man, um, my heart goes out to you, and um, but come on, we can do a lot better. I know that we can do a lot better. Um, it takes some time to practice and some adjustments, but eventually I think you can get out there and have the type of life and existence that you can be proud of. And if I'm any example to you, I've done this myself. I've went from an absolutely crappy life to one that I can say I'm proud of. You know? So, guys, um, you know, this is your time to make the most of life. And yeah, so I just want to say before I go, man, too many men are killing themselves. Too many men are just offing themselves. I had a cousin do it. A distant cousin of mine, ended his life because of. I don't want to speak to what that was because of, because I don't know the details, but yeah, it's just a sad thing to see. Plus, we have men who get out of the military and take their own lives because of the PTSD that they suffer, or because of just loneliness. There's a severe severe problem with this, guys. And maybe it's a society's fault, maybe it's something else. I don't know. But I think as men, we gotta, we gotta step up to the plate. We gotta do something beneficial just for us, for our own well-being, for our own mental health. I mean, I'm currently seeing a therapist. I think that's something that most men, or yeah, all men should do. And it's been very helpful for me going through this process of therapy. And I'm also seeing a spiritual counselor. I meet with a group of people 2 times a month, or actually, yeah, like, so there's 2 meetings that I do anyway. That's actually been a very good help. That's given me a sense of community, and I think as men, what we need is community. We need each other. We can depend on each other and lift each other up as a community. So, if you're at all interested in forming a community of men who can get together, who are focused on positivity to lift each other up, and the biggest thing with isolation, guys, is, man, if you're isolated and you're experiencing these problems with loneliness and not having relationships and being an incel and all this stuff, man, loneliness is one of the most destructive things ever. Because loneliness, it teaches you that you're the only one going through this problem. And I can guarantee that you are not. I've gone through it. Many men have gone through it. And especially with younger men, I find, this world has become more focused on women and women's empowerment and feminism and things like that. And in the first wave of feminism, I could totally agree with it. Women were, at one point in time, women are treated like second-class citizens. They are basically owned by their male partner. And they're told what to do and what they can do and can't do. And, well, I think that's an oppressive thing. Nobody should be owning anybody. Nobody should be, having that degree of control over anyone. But now, on the other hand, and I hear this from politicians and other things, where feminism has now become, we must destroy all men. Women are now more wealthy than they've ever been. Women now control businesses. They are buying homes more than men. They are earning more than their male counterparts. So if we want to talk about the pay gap, that's becoming less of a thing. That's not existing anymore. So, you know, so I can rightly see why men feel oppressed. I get it. There's a lot of grievances. I mean, and women now are trained to feel like they need to go out there and get a job and bust their ass for their boss. Not their husband, their boss. So now they're being controlled by their bosses and instead of their husbands. And that's a whole other thing. Which, like, yeah, I don't know, I feel like I have very moderate views on these things. Like, of course, women should be allowed to work. I don't think there's any problem with that. But also, I can see that, you know, with the DEI and the affirmative action, people want to hire more women just to fill a quota than they do men, or especially straight white men. So that's becoming another thing where straight white men are becoming demonized in society as rapists and pedophiles, and, well, not pedophiles, that's a whole other thing, but, abusers, and, you have all this privilege and all this other bullshit. And so, men, I get you. I understand where you're coming from. But, there's some things are out of your control and other things are in your control. And so, I want to take this movement from being one of hatred and anger against women to, hey, let's work on ourselves. Let's form a community of men who empower men and lift each other up. So the last thing I want to touch on here is the codependency factor. So men men internalize this thing that if I don't have a relationship, if I don't have a wife, if I don't have anyone who loves me, then I'm worthless. And that is not the case. So I can tell you about this because I know this feeling. I know this all too well. Right? So number one, the universe loves you simply because you exist. There's nothing that you need to do to prove your worth or love or get loved more. The universe loves you unconditionally simply because you exist. And two, like, in this world that we live in, we aren't loved because of who we are. We are loved because of what we do. Okay, so that's a conditional love. That's a contractual love. If you do this, I will do that. Honey, if you mow the lawn, then I'll give you sex or kisses or whatever, right? If you do this, then I'll do that, right? So that is a contractual, or like, this back and forth, like, conditional love. So what I've been training myself to do is loving myself just simply because I exist. And this is far and away, like, most people don't think this way. They think, men are judged on what they can provide and what they can do for people. That's why incels are often seen as worthless men or garbage men or men who have no value. And so this is very unfortunate. But so that opinion of, oh yeah, you are not of value to me, you are unlovable to me, right? That is one person's opinion. That is, or maybe multiple people's opinion, but that's okay. Like, that doesn't have to determine your truth about yourself. So what I have had to do, because I am disabled, I have disabilities, I have also had singleness for a very long time, and also loneliness for a very long time. And yes, on the brink of, many times on the brink of deleting myself, as the kids say. So when I was about to do that, and I was inches away from doing that, I had this realization that, okay, either my life has to get better, I have to do something to improve my life, or I can't stand this anymore, I gotta go. So what happened for me is this gave me this ruthless courage to fight for my life, fight for my sanity, my mental health, fight for this continuance to live, despite everything that society told me about myself. Despite this this perception of myself that I was totally and completely worthless and unlovable, right? So you can either go into the abyss, or you can fight back against it. At the end of the day, those are your two options. Continuing to do nothing and take no action towards your happiness, you will slowly fade into the abyss. Choosing to delete yourself, going into the abyss. For me, there's only one option. For me, there has, when I came up to the edge of the abyss, I all I can say is there's something in me that loved myself enough to choose differently. Those are your two choices, guys. So what I am encouraging men to do is to dare to love yourself unconditionally. And that takes work, and that takes practice. And I can guarantee that you're not going to be perfect at it every time. You know, with this, being naturally being an incel, you're going to be self-loathing. You're going to have a ton of self-hatred. Ask me how I know. You're going to, all of this intense pressure on you, all of this intense, of course, I understand why people choose to delete themselves, but I want to prevent that. I want to prevent that from happening to anyone else. It's unnecessary. It doesn't need to happen. And so we all need to learn how to meet our needs. I know men are love starved. And so it's time to meet our needs. It's time to do constructive and productive things that help us to feel loved. Because at the end of the day, that's all we want. That's what every human wants. Men, women, everybody. We all just want to be loved. We all want to feel accepted. We all want to feel worthy of love, and yeah. So my solution, please do work with me. I will be posting more videos about this topic on my channel because I think it's worth discussing. So you know, my schedule is open. You can start working with me today if you wanted to. Schedule an appointment for this week. And my options are, you can talk with me monthly, you can talk with me bi-monthly, you can talk with me weekly, whatever you want to do, like however I can help you, by all means, I'm here to help. Okay? So this is coming from someone who's been there. I know that I can help you because I've been there. Okay? I have faced that demon. I have faced that challenge. And I have overcome it. Right? So, yeah, this is a very touching subject for me. Like, a lot of times, women often don't know how bad it is, how much men are struggling, because we absolutely refuse to let anyone in. We choose to isolate ourselves and just seethe under the surface. And so, instead of condemning men for feeling anger and rage and hatred towards women, like the condemnation is going to get you nowhere. It's just going to further divide us. And so, there needs to be a bit of acceptance and empathy. And I'm not saying that women need to date them or anything like that. Just empathize on a human level, like what that might feel like. So I think a bit of empathy on both sides might do us a bit of good. Men will need to learn empathy for what women are going through. Because oftentimes, it's women dating. It's oftentimes a very can be a scary thing. Oftentimes women are smaller and more fragile than men are. And so, they want to protect themselves. They want to, be selective because of that. And also, it's just, this thing has been going back and forth on both sides for a very long time. So, empathy on both sides, guys. Like, I think that the more that we communicate with each other, the more that we talk about what we're going through, I think that men and women can come to an understanding. And men, I understand the hatred and the, wrath and the anger and all that stuff. But also, it's really counterproductive, and it's really not serving you. So, in fact, I'm going to research this week about the 12 steps and how we can incorporate that for the involuntary celibate community, because I think that's something that very much needs to happen. I see a great need for that to happen. And being a 12-stepper myself, I can even work with men individually and help them work through the steps and heal psychologically from this what feels like torture that they've been through. So, alright guys, I'm open, by the way, ladies, I'm open to work with you too. If you need healing on whatever level. I think we all need healing, so GeboTheShaman.com, Patreon.com/GeboTheShaman. I have my astrology readings, distance energy healing stuff. Yeah, and energy healings, astrology readings, all that stuff. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching my channel, and yeah, I'll be uploading soon. So take care, guys. Love y'all. Bye bye. We'll see you soon.